Hello, 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 everyone.
Caught John mid-bite.
That's right. Thank you for joining us. I haven't been around for the last couple of weeks because I've been gadding about Europe like a bon vivant.
But did you see the final countdown?
The what?
The final countdown, Europe.
I saw a lot. I saw 5 countries in 2 weeks, and I hit all the high points in every country, including Champagne on the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, I saw that picture.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I came home with travel crud. So as most of you guys would conflate that with con crud. So a couple days after I got home, now I'm coughing and I was sick. So we're going to introduce ourselves, and then I'm going to turn it over to Kaz to talk about the Kickstarter. Excuse me. Okay, my name's Barb Kelberg. I'm known as the Empress of Inks. I've been an inker for 38 years. So now I've lost track. I've worked for everybody, and now I am a Silverliner, and I am also the CFO of Silverline, and I haven't been counting beans lately, so I need to catch up.
More beans.
It would be nice if there was a diamond to give us some of the beans that they owe us.
Yeah, that would. Yes. They're not going to.
Yeah, I know.
And that's the bottom line.
Wave to those dollar bills as they fly by.
Yeah. They gave us a tiny little fraction of pennies on the dollar, and that's all we're going to see. Not even going to touch.
I'm surprised you got even that.
Yeah, I am actually too. I was surprised we got anything because we're so far down on their list of priorities. After they've got the DC, Marvel, Dark Horse, and the other larger companies. I'm surprised we saw anything at all, but we did. We just saw a little bit. John, take it away.
Yeah, everybody. John Medic, writer, letterer, editor, pre-press guy, Sniper and Rook. My primary title. Glad to be here.
How about you, Rob?
Oh, well, I've been in this biz about as long as Barb has. I think it's 40 years now. 86 to 41.
Yeah, you've been in it.
I started out as working on role playing games in 86, 87. So I count that. That's part of my professional career. Started then. But yeah, and working on everything from Merlin in the far distant past to Star Trek in the far distant future and all kinds of stuff in between, working for Marvel, DC, Innovation, a bunch of different Malibu on the Star Trek stuff, and kind of fell out of the industry for a little while now. I'm making my way back after having worked in a real job for a while. Now I'm on a pension and I can do whatever the heck I want. So I'm drawing comic books again.
So you said 87?
Do some of my own stuff through my self-publishing at Redbud Studio. Am art director for Airship 27 Pulp Revival publisher, and doing a little stuff here and there for Silverline. So I'm busier now than I was when I was working at a real job, and that's okay.
Yeah, me too.
Because it's stuff I want to do.
Yeah, busy doing the things you want. Yeah,
I want to do. Yes. So
Rob, you said 1987. Okay, can I say something to you first, Rob? So you said 87. You know what else was happening in 87?
86, 87.
86, 87 was my last year in junior high. So in 87, I was graduating in junior high. And like that 84, 85, 86, 87, those were the prime years for me when I got into comics for reals.
Oh, man,
so
that was
as
a
you
good
were
time
entering
to get
the industry
comics.
as a professional, that's when I was entering the industry as like a real avid reader. So that's kind of a cool parallel.
That's when we were getting stuff from Frank Miller on his Dark Knight stuff, and Alan
I remember
Moore,
buying that off of somebody
all that
outside
stuff
of
was
the
coming
cafeteria in the school. Yeah, good times, man. Good times.
That was an interesting time to be in the comics industry. You could actually get in the black and white end of comics and work your way into the color. That's not how it works anymore. It doesn't work like that at all. So anyway, let's let Kaz tell us who he is, and what he's up to.
Don't worry, it's the shortest description. So I'm Harris.
Yeah,
The
I need
relic.
to write mine down so I can kind of. It's too long. Sorry.
No, it's you earned it. Hey, when
Well.
you guys have been in the industry that long, you earn the right to kind of say all your accolades. So I'm gonna get there one day, but right now I am the relative newbie writer here at Silverline. Did a little. Did you see in the intro? I did a little story in the Christmas issue that we did a few years back. But there's a new book, Silverline Team Up Volume 2 with Tempest and Miss Fury. Hopefully that comes out soon. And so you'll be able to see some of my work there. And then I just turned in the first draft of issue number 1 of the new project, which I want to talk about, but I can't right now.
Can't.
I want to put permission from the head honcho first, but hopefully he reads it, he likes it, and then it'll be a good thing. And we have a Fund My Comic going. So I'm going to put that up on the screen. So we talked about Diamond and not getting the pennies that we needed. We got like fractions of pennies on that. But we do have a Fund My Comic going that is helping to recoup some of those operational costs. And it has a whole bunch of stuff on it that's really, really, really good stuff. So as always with our crowdfunders, if you need back issues of anything, you can get it here. There's also t-shirts here. I know I'm a t-shirt guy, so I love to order some t-shirts. We got mystery. Yep, there you go, Barb. Show it off. Represent.
That's the one I bought off this crowdfunder.
I know I got this one off the crowdfunder too. But all the titles like Barb's Divinity, you can get all the back issues of that. Twilight Grim, you can get that. Sniper and Rook is in here too. Is in here too. Yep. You see it. You can get these red bags that are like mystery bags, and it has like a certain amount of comics in those. You can.
And they are not porn.
They're Barb.
Barb. No porn.
Oh wait. Foreign? Did you say foreign?
Porn. Oh,
did you say the P word? I hope you didn't say it.
Yes, I did. I said the P word. Yes.
Oh my God.
They're anonymous bags.
They're not.
But they do not contain any porn, people.
Right. No,
So
there's no X-rated stuff from Silverline.
So manage your expectations. You're not gonna get the nudie mag.
I don't think we even have any R-rated stuff. Really.
Yeah.
There's some
Sirens.
Stuff that,
Sirens is a little risque.
It's pretty. Yeah, it is. That's true. I forgot about that
Speaking of sirens, you can see it over here.
Yeah.
There's no Tommy. There's not. There's not.
It's a Fleur-Monty flyby.
Okay. Well, if you want to believe that, and go ahead and buy some.
I guess there's levels to it. There's a little back showing on this issue of Sirens, so that might count for some people.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good stuff in here.
Well, let me give you a hint on Sirens. Roland did ask me to black out a few areas, so
yeah,
or move things around, on digitally to cover up a few areas.
Oh my
God! So there was some redaction going on.
Yes,
little pasties, little art pasties on there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if even if you can't, I mean, we would love it if you supported us. But even if you can't, sharing the crowdfunder, and I will go ahead and put this in the chat so folks can see it later on. But yeah, if you could share, push that out so as many people can be exposed to it as possible, it really, really does help us out. And as always, we appreciate all the time you spend with us. So if you go to our social media on Facebook or whatever else the cool kids go on, subscribe. Thank you for spending time with us. There's good stuff in here, so please give it a look. A lot of good art. Look, Rob is doing commissions.
Yep.
Rob is doing commissions. And then I think I saw Barb's. I think I saw some Divinity art down here.
There is Divinity art.
Oh, here we go. Here we
go.
Yeah,
there we go. Yep, right there.
One is sold out, I think. So here's Cat and Mouse. Yeah, this was sold out.
I sent a couple of Cat and Mouse pages. I sent a couple of Divinity pages, and I sent a whole bunch of Cat and Mouse posters. 2 different kinds.
So as always, folks, please please support in any way you can. Again,
it's going to help us out.
Yeah,
it's going to help us out, definitely.
All right, so I have talked way too much. I'll turn it back over to you, Barb.
All righty. Well, tonight we have kind of an interesting topic.
Oh my God.
And we're going to talk about the role of the independent creator in today's market and crowdfunding. And sorry, I got a cough drop in my mouth.
Well, it's better than
yeah. And I mean, we're going to talk about not only the pros but the cons of this whole crowdfunding revolution. The crowdfunding has fundamentally transformed independent comic creation by acting as a direct to consumer distribution.
Yeah.
And funding channel, and that has cut out the middleman in a lot of cases, but it's not all roses, you know. There's
some stinky marigolds in there.
Some stinky marigolds.
Stinky marigolds.
I mean, I think one of the biggest pros to being able for the indie creator to go through crowdfunding is that we eliminate the gatekeeping that we're prone to if we work under a major distributor, that has to greenlight your stories.
Publisher, not distributor, right?
Publishers and distributors such as Diamond.
Well, yeah, because not every distributor will take independent comics.
That's right.
If they do, sometimes when they do, the hurdles that they place are just too big. A lot of times you have to have a certain number of orders, or you can't get into the catalog.
That's right.
And if they go down, they'll cancel you, not let you put out subsequent issues.
They will.
That's happened in the past.
So it's some hurdles to jump. So it's good that we have another avenue to use. Hey, Javier.
Hey, go. When I say gatekeeping, I don't mean just the publishers that hire you and tell you what to write. I also mean the distribution, because you're right. If you're trying to get a book out there and it's the only book that you publish, distributors wouldn't even look at you. Nope. And you had to. And one of the big things Diamond required of us when we finally did get into the Diamond catalog was that we had to guarantee to have one book a month to solicit. At least one book a month. And for a lot of indies, that's just not doable. So crowdfunding allows you to escape the gatekeeping from both distributor and publisher. Does anybody want to pop in on here and expound some more on that?
Bolster your argument? Yeah.
I think, there's... Oh, go ahead. Who was my name?
No, go ahead, Cass, because I'm going to play contrarian.
Well, I might play it too. I think that, there's like we said earlier, there's the pros and cons to it. I never knew the old world, right? So I didn't know the pain of getting into writing comics and being able to produce something via that pipeline. Right. I love the fact that you can have a crowd, even though I've never run a crowdfunder. I've just funded my own stuff and put my own stuff out there, mostly because I want to churn out 1,000 bad pages so I can get to a good page. Right. But I know people who run crowdfunders, and there's that real sense of you can actually do a thing now. Right. And you don't have to. It's not simply an idea that will never come into fruition. Now you kind of have an avenue. Now it's oversaturated now, so it's hard to actually achieve the results you want in a crowdfunder, but it's possible to. And so I actually love the idea, even now with it being oversaturated, still the idea that hey, if you can create an audience, right? If you can get people excited about your stuff, if you can figure that out, the crowdfunder is the way for you to make your thing. And
Absolutely.
it's there. You can do it.
And some people have made careers out of that. I mean, they hit big.
Brian Polito.
Yeah.
Well, and Polito had a name before that. I'm talking about even like smaller up and comers. You know,
you don't see that quite as often, but it does happen.
And the gatekeeping, like you said, is not there. So I don't have to, again, I like the discipline of the old world and understanding page counts and the amount of words that you put on it, but it's not there anymore. So even the, that insane discipline that would get shot down by an editor and a publisher doesn't really exist, right? No one's going to, unless you have those people with you on your project, no one's going to gatekeep that. No one's going to prevent you from releasing 13 pages for a comic instead of like 24 or 28. No one's going to do that. So you have
the printer might have something to say about that.
Well, they can do 12 interior pages if they do the interior back cover as page 13. It works. I already did the math in my head.
You have to do it. You have to do it in fours. Even with a cover, you have to have the front cover and then inside front and back.
But if he uses the inside back cover, he could do that as a story page.
Sure,
but
there's no reason you can't.
You guys are still in the print world too, though. That's what I'm saying. You're assuming that I'm talking about print.
But crowdfunders usually have at least a print aspect of them.
They do.
Not all of them do, but most of them still do that. So
and it's only really worth if you want to do a printed version, right? That's where the cost is. But that's not saying that you have to. There are people who release digital stuff all the time. So I'm just trying to throw out there that, I understand, and I actually really like the old world and being able to learn it as a skill and a trade and art. Even
I don't think that's going away either. There's people who are always all this digital stuff's going to do away with the print. No, the print's always going to be there. It's just going to change. It's going to change.
I don't think the discipline will be there, though. I think printing will always be there. I don't think the discipline in lettering will be there. I don't think the discipline in word count will be there. I don't think the discipline in panel creation will be there because it will all evolve, right?
Yeah. So, I think people will find, though, that there are some kind of unbreakable rules in storytelling that it just doesn't work well. It looks amateurish if you do it a certain way. But
just sell your product.
On that, with Kickstarters and other crowdfunding, there's a lot of amateur stuff out there.
If you break too many rules, you may be able to sell your first issue, but nobody's going to come back for the second.
Yeah, you're seeing understand rules though. I don't know. I think it evolves.
I think it's going to change. I think it's changing because there aren't the big guy in the office sit down at the end of the hallway. Telling you, no, you can't do it that way. We don't do it that way. Yep. Well, if you're your own editor and your own publisher, do it however you want to.
So what if the word balloons make no sense at all? I mean, it's too much of a hassle to figure it out.
Exactly, but
nobody's stopping the creator from doing it that way or backwards or in Latin. It doesn't matter. It's creation.
But who's going to come back and buy a second?
Like she says about. You might sell your first one, but your second one, if people can't read or follow your story, they're not going to come back. So there, like I said, there are some unwritten rules in storytelling. Like if the balloons should read left to right, unless you're in the Japanese market, and then it's right to left. But in some other languages. But there's stuff like that, and the way you make a page flow to make it easier to read. There's some basic rules that you'll have to follow, but I think there'll be all kinds of new experimental things that'll come along and change how we do it. But there'll still be some very basic stuff that if you break those rules, you'll lose your readers. So it won't go any further. It's evolution. We'll have some good changes and we'll have some bad changes.
I started talking like Javier left. I'm like, oh no, so
Well, I think he may have
I
been
could
having
argue
trouble.
any
I
side
don't
of
know.
anything, and so that's kind of what I'm doing. So people out there don't hate me. From a business standpoint, the distributors, it's really easy for us as creators to kind of get our panties in a bunch and kind of get that feelings, and feelings aren't facts. We get the feelings, we get butthurt because they didn't accept my book, because they won't, carry it. They won't take it through the distribution channel, and then we had a guarantee, and I'm not talking Silverline, I'm talking like anybody at any time with the distributors, X amount of sales, otherwise you get canceled. Well, the distributors are a business as well. And so they also have to operate on scale. And if you're going to have a book that you get 16 orders from, now they're going to have to take time to accept them, inventory them, put them into the proper boxes, send them out to the, and then you get 6,000 baby publishers, each with 16 books, like 16 floppy copies, not 16 different titles. So, the gatekeeping part is not necessarily just to be a douche, to say nobody but the big guys, although it does happen that way in some cases. Some of the distribution decisions are what we just talked about. Not everything is ready for prime time. There is so much amateur badly amateur stuff that tries to get passed off. That, and if you're doing it as a self-publisher, you could put out anything you want. Absolutely. You could pay to have it printed. You could do, and absolutely, positively. But a distributor might look at that and say, no, that might be the editor that they need that they don't have, because they're not at a Marvel or a DC. They might be the one saying, no, this book is junk, and maybe you need to refine your skills, and resubmit to us, and then maybe we'll think about carrying your book. So the gatekeeping is not necessarily always from a creative perspective, which is where we get hurt as creators. We feel like we're being slighted, but a lot of the stuff's from the business perspective, from their end too. That's something that we can't focus on.
Maybe I wasn't clear. I wasn't saying that it doesn't have business. It's just that there's that barrier to overcome for whatever reason it is. It's there. So
no, my response actually,
if you're going to get into this
business,
business, you got to realize it's there.
It was right at the jump when Barb introduced the topic and said okay, and then Kaz and I were like ready to jump in. Mine went back to that, so it wasn't even a reflection of anything that you had said. It's like the contrarian. It's like, okay, well, let's consider the business part of it.
Sure, and it's good that you brought that up, because that is important. That's one of the reasons why that barrier is there, is that it's a business thing.
And some of the stuff that was talked about, like good and bad, and it's that double-edged sword.
That's right.
The impulse factor. How many times have we been in comic stores where we take a look and we see something on a shelf that we've never heard of before, and we just say, dang, that cover looks cool, and we pick it up and we flip through it and we buy it on impulse. That impulse purchase doesn't necessarily happen the same way with crowdfunding. Yes, you have a bigger store, meaning the internet, where people can do the impulse purchase, straight out, or the pledge, the pledge, but it's a little bit different than seeing that thing physically in your hands. And the other thing, going back to the distributors, say that we distribute a book and we say it's going to come out in June. It doesn't come out in June. It doesn't come out in July. It doesn't come out in August. You're going to have some people that are very disappointed that the book never materialized. But
which happens a lot in crowdfunders.
If they put it on their pull list, they're not out money. How many crowdfunders, not a single one from Silverline, I'm just putting that out there, but how many crowdfunders have any of us put into for comics, and we got jacked?
Yeah,
we were promised original art. We were promised comics.
Zero, because I don't do those.
So a whole bunch of things.
There's a lot of them out there.
Nothing realized. There's a reason why those platforms have their little asterisk down there and their little business acumen of this does not guarantee you're going to get the product that they're telling you that you're going to get. So,
right.
you know, there's a difference in level of disappointment with crowdfunding versus, you know, and a product never materializing like vaporware, you know, but then it never materializing in the comic book store.
If you are just joining us, tonight's topic is the role of independent creators and how crowdfunding has impacted the comic book creation process.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're kind of doing tonight. We're just kicking around things. One of the second pros to creating and selling on Crowdfunder is that a crowdfunder empowers a creator to build and monetize their own empire. You're selling directly to your backers, and you own the intellectual property. Mm-hmm. So you are building your own empire. You're not working through somebody else. Comments?
The direct-to-consumer model is definitely, you know, that's a tried and true thing. And it's good that we now have a venue for that for comics, especially when you're talking independent comics, self-publishers. The cost per unit, so back to business, the cost per unit to print a lower number of comics is going to be astronomically high. You want to throw color in there, say that you're ordering 100 copies. Now you're probably paying, we are paying, if we're printing it, $3, $4, $5 each. So if we charge $7, that's only a $2 profit.
You want to make
before paying wrestlers, before paying inkers, before paying, you know, to have them shipped
and that's
anywhere.
Even before you consider shipping.
Yeah.
Ideally, shipping is huge.
Ideally, and I'm talking as a bean counter here, what you want to shoot for, which doesn't always happen, but what you want to shoot for is after all expenses are paid, the printing, the shipping, everything, you would ideally want to have a 40% profit. That doesn't happen a lot, but that would be the ideal to shoot for.
And that's a great number, because that's usually the type of discount that most comic stores, unless they were huge mega chains, were getting from the distributors back in the day. I remember when I was working in the comic stores in the 90s, we would get a 40% discount off of the cover price. Right. And that's where that's our profit came in.
Cross-publishing. That's
right.
Generally across all publishing.
And you also hit on something else, John, that we need to distinguish between, is that in crowdfunding, you have two kinds of models. You have the fundraising model is give me money and I will complete the book and get it to you at some point. And you have the distribution model, which is the model that Silverline follows, is that you're there to sell a book. So basically, a crowdfunder for you is a pop-up comic book shop.
Yeah, to your original point, Martin says, well, unless a major billion-dollar company decides they want your IP, then
that's a nice little dream to have.
That's
but
dream.
That's like
listen. That happened to me. That happened to me and Martin. That's why he mentioned it. You know this video game called Overwatch?
Yeah.
Yes.
We created a comic book called Project Overwatch in 2009. And they gave us a nice little paperwork saying, yeah, you need to stop production on that immediately.
Oh, I remember.
Because we have something in the pipeline, very similarly named. And we had to be quiet for about 5 years, and they gave us a little bit of money and some access to some games, but really I still have 3 issues in the can, can't produce it. So it does happen. It's just not pretty when it does happen to the small guy, because the small guy's got nothing. Yeah. I mean, who am I going to go to? I'm going to pay a lawyer to read a contract?
Yeah, you don't have
I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah,
all we're doing is producing comics that we'd like to see when we were kids.
Yeah, I had the same thing happen with Divinity is that, well, not exactly, but I put out Divinity, and then, I don't know, a year or so after I'd put out my first issue, I saw somebody else had a comic book on the Crowdfunder.
Divinity, yeah.
But when I went and looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, this is so bad.
It's drastically different.
Yeah, I wasn't really gonna bother with it because I didn't think it was gonna be a threat. So
And there's nothing
let it be.
wrong with, bad comics. They exist. Even publishers have done their fair share.
I intentionally put my bad comics out so I can get to a good comic. That's how I look at it. I need to get
this
to
is
the
your.
bad pages. Yeah,
If anybody
It
knows
is
the Beatles history, this is your Hamburg.
yeah.
It is the opening of gate. It's not gatekeeping. It's the opening of the gates for a flood of product, good, bad, incomplete, doesn't exist, schemers and con men.
Scam artists.
We've seen them. We've encountered them. We've confronted them at conventions when they dare show up. It's real, and people think that they can just show up and it'll be easy to make money. And this is not about making money. It can't be. If you're into making money through your comics, you can't be into it. You got to go and work for a company and hopefully make your way through that corporate strategy and corporate dynamics of trying to get hired, doing monthly work, not having vacation, no health insurance, and all these other things, plus your own personal, goals. Everybody needs to pick their lane. Kickstarter and others like it just open more lanes, but they also made it harder for that indie person that just went to Kinko's to get stuff printed. Now has to be a social media mogul as well in order to even try to get into a convention or get a book into the local comic shop. I mean, I've spent $300 a month on a comic book shop for years. Hey, I got my comic book. No support. None whatsoever. I showed it. It's physically, it's real. No, we don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
That hurts.
Mm-hmm.
That hurts. Like when I started self-publishing and, printing, I was doing like 1,000 or 2,000 copies newsprint, in like the local comic shops that I shopped in. I just asked them, would you put them on your shelf? I didn't even ask them to order it. It's like, would you put them on the shelf and try to get some of them out there? And they did that. That was cool.
Hey, Martin, thank you for joining us.
That's rough out here.
Yeah, that's why I'm all grizzled and don't care about my personal hygiene anymore,
Yeah, getting told no by a distributor is one thing, but being told no by a company and a person you've closely done business with and invested in their business in many ways for many years, that's personal.
Yeah. And we've been talking about the pros of crowdfunding, but I'm going to touch on several of the cons. A lot of artists say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to make a book and put it on a crowdfunder and I'm going to make a ton of money." And there is an excellent article on comicscrusader.com called "Crowdfunding Saved Indie Comics, but let's stop pretending it's easy money."
Mm-hmm.
And boy, yeah, it's and they point out, and I'm going to read directly from this. It says, you need a book, you need a pitch, you need the trailer that grabs people in the first 3 seconds because attention spans are a battlefield now. You need the reward tiers that actually make sense and don't bury you in fulfillment hell. You need the page design that feels alive instead of looking like a half-finished Wikipedia entry. You need the shipping plans, and I mean a real one, not a vibe. You need the fulfillment budget. You need to understand taxes. You need to update that and keep your backers feeling like a family instead of strangers waiting on a package that may or may never arrive. You need stretch goals that excite without crushing your spine. You need social media pushes. You need a mailing list. You need press outreach. You need to know how to talk to journalists and podcasters and YouTubers and the random person in your DMs who might be your biggest evangelist. And this is my personal devil. You need to sell yourself. Most artists don't like to do that, and I'm one of them. But a lot of people don't realize what all has to go into a crowdfunder. There's a lot of work involved and a lot of expenses that you would not even think of. And you're out there, you're crowdfunding, and oh yeah, I sold 600 books. Okay, now So I made my goal and I made all this money. Okay, now you got to ship them. Okay, so you're going to need 600 Gemini mailers or the envelopes. You need the shipping for 600 books.
And a stiffener of some kind to keep it from getting bent in the mail. Or
yeah, you need backers.
There's
you need thermal labels. Who thinks about the labels? I do.
You know, you
I
gotta
think
have.
You need you need.
So if I could play contrarian, so I'll go kind of with the pros. So since you went negative, I'll go happy. Luckily,
you gotta have.
What you got?
Backing board.
Since
buy the bags of the backing boards for.
Since they are smaller print runs, a lot of the print on demand places that small independent companies who are doing crowdfunding, they now offer those services. You know, a lot of them will.
But you got to pay for them.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's something that has to be put into like the business expense column. And this is going to make me totally like disliked by a lot of people. But if we're talking about gatekeeping and how we've had a lot of things gate kept against us, do we have money to do all kinds of advertising and commercials and create an animation based upon our book, and do like proper marketing? No. But you know what? AI has put that in the reach of everybody. AI has knocked down some of those gateways. AI can help you build an animation commercial to get you out there. Things that we could never do on our own 10 years ago. But people hear AI and now it's evil. But it is knocking down some of those.
It's another
doors.
tool. It's just another tool. I keep saying this every time AI comes up. It's just another tool. It's going to be, if you're an evil person, you're going to put out evil stuff. You're going to rip people. It's going to steal people's artwork. So
Martin has been chiming in.
Business plans, how to write, official press releases, interview questions, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That could handle a lot of the backroom business stuff that Marvel and DC has manpower departments for. That independent stuff.
So wait, guys, Martin has been chiming in here, so I want to make sure we read some of his comments.
I've been reading it.
Exhausting, Martin. It's a lot of work, and it takes a team. It takes a team to put on a crowdfunder. I've known people who do it all on their own. Yeah, I know people who do it all on their own, and they are putting in 110% for 30 odd days, and they are exhausted when it's all over because you have to have at least 3 or 4 social media streams. You have to have podcasts lined up. You have to have new press releases to put out. It's constantly being on all the time. And what I'm saying is that crowdfunders can be a great way to get yourself out there, but you have to realize what all goes into it. And just thinking that you're going to I can talk a good talk and push myself, and then all I have to do is print them off. No, there's and I'm going to read directly from my.
You can't. You can do it that way, but you're not going to sell very many copies.
Well, you're not going to make any money. I've known people who have gone into debt because they promised too much. Like, with one book you get a T-shirt. Well, then you know how much it costs to buy a T-shirt to have printed on, and it adds to your shipping costs. I'm going to read you directly from my
That was just stupid, whoever did that one. I just got to say it. I mean, like, anybody should know that a shirt would cost more than $4. Or whatever a book was.
Well, and you might be able to get them for $4, but you have to buy 5,000.
Well, that came with
that.
Well, no, I'm saying like your book's going to cost $4 to print at that point.
Somebody did that for a stretch goal. Oh, you get a T-shirt if we meet the stretch goal. Are you an idiot?
Well, it depends on what the stretch goal is.
I don't know, guys. The way you guys are framing that, I think we've become too scared to try things. Now they're going to learn a lesson, right? They're going to learn a valuable lesson from that experience. But we've gotten into the zone where, because you have like this wealth of experience, right? And you and it could be varied experience. It doesn't even mean comics. Maybe you have a good financial sense of things, right? Your risk aversion to that is high. You're like, please, why would I do that, right? But for the person who's going out there venturing, hey, you know what? As long as you accept the consequence and the risk of that decision, do it.
Right.
Yeah.
All I'm
Yeah.
saying is do your research.
Yeah.
There are some really, really good books on Amazon on how to do a crowdfunder that cover all of the hidden expenses that you aren't expecting. Get one of those before you launch your campaign, so that you know where to set your goal in order to cover all your expenses, so that you don't end up in the hole. That's all I'm saying, is be aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid. Have a strategy. Prepare yourself, but don't be afraid. Like, maybe you're offering a silly button. You know, maybe you didn't think that through, and now
you may damage the comic and shipping.
Yeah.
Probably the lowest entry point is getting yourself a web page and just posting stuff regularly on your web page to get started.
Right.
I mean, if you're just wanting to create something in the comic book medium, that's the lowest barrier right there. But even at that, you're probably going to have to pay for the website itself. Yeah. You know, you have to get a domain
sites for
name.
Free.
Yeah, well, but a lot of stuff you can get for free, but it's also it's worth what you pay for.
Yeah, there's a lot of unrealistic expectations here, guys, from us as creators and from the buying public. The buying public has a certain expectation of when they purchase a comic book physically, it's got to have a certain style. It has to have a cover. It should have some kind of letters page. It should have an introduction, and it should have certain things like color or speed lines or people in it. What this gatekeeping has done is that it's pretty much blown that concept and lets you pick what my comic book will look like.
Yeah.
Now, will somebody buy it or not? That's a different consideration. You have to keep that in mind.
Go in with that, yeah.
But
realizing it
the creation of it is very much up to you. I don't need a cover. There's no rule that says it has to happen this way. But, it's just, it's up to the individual to pick up which ladders, which steps they want to do. Hopefully it'll work out and they'll learn, like you said. But, there's no limit to your imagination.
I made comics when I was in, and this is a long time ago, folks. Back when I was in the late grade school, junior high, I made comic books. But,
on the mimeograph machine?
Mimeograph machine, or just making one.
They were purple because they were dittoed.
Ditto machines, yeah. But but so you start somewhere, and that was my start, was creating my own, and I had one copy, the one that I drew. So drew and lettered and did all the stuff myself. But it's
I'm not trying to discourage anyone.
If your expectations are high to start with, that's going to mean you're going to fall on your face. But if you set your goal as, I'm just going to create this and see where it goes, and then find out what your level of, as you go along, you'll figure out what level of input that you want to do, how much work you want to do to get it out there to sell. First of all, you have to come to the conclusion, what is it I want from this? Is this just a creative outlet for me, and it doesn't have to necessarily make money for me? That's the bottom. That's fine. That's the very bottom thing. Now, if you want to get rich with it, that's one of those high expectation things.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying is go into it with your eyes open.
You want to put in. Yeah. And do your research, figure out what it is you can do, and decide whether that's what you want to do or not. So,
$1 trillion.
But don't suffer paralysis either. Be educated. Don't wait. Let the years help you. Now,
go for it.
We have a lot of comments that have flown in here, so I just want to read a few of them so we don't.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, can I just say, I haven't thought about how much stuff I used to do to push our books. It sounds so exhausting now that I'm so far away from it. But Javier was my studio partner for years. He would tell you I was doing this and more 12 years ago, 24/7.
For about 6 different books, continuously over 3 or 4 years. He's right. He probably, that explains a lot of his behavior now, 12 years later. But, bless his heart. Bless his heart, because I couldn't put up just making our own book, much less 6 or 7 of them. Wait, that's why publishers get a lot of my respect, especially editors. I can't do that. I can't wrangle 5 people per book times 20 books.
It's like herding cats.
Yeah. No, I don't have enough bullets in the chamber for this. I really don't.
Yeah,
it's a lot easier if you have a team and that's willing to help you promote and take some of that off your plate. So gather up your friends, your grandma, that cousin, that nerd cousin that always looks weird at the reunions, but that he loves comics. Round them all up and get him to help you out, because you'd be surprised at the support that you can get, and they will make a huge difference and take a lot off your plate.
And the
You'd be surprised how many people disappear too.
Yeah, the talent that some people have outside of comics that will help you. Yeah, Atri, forgive me if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Atri's doc says, "Good evening, folks."
Good evening.
Godfo Universe.
This is awesome.
Make a maximum shipping size and weight goal, and then price around that. That's a
great business. Thank you for sharing that. A lot of people I found talk about gatekeeping. When people find great ideas like that, they don't share them. So thank you for sharing. That's pretty cool.
That's a good. That's a nugget. Yep.
Stay away from physical rewards is another thing, because that every physical item you add changes the weight, which changes the cost, and that multiplies so quickly. A couple of ounces makes a difference between your $20 and $30 shipping.
A little button isn't going to make that much of a difference. Little tiny rewards, but I'll tell you what goes the best, and it doesn't. Yeah, bookmarks are fine. Poster. Buttons, a little poster, but I'll tell you what, PDFs are the epitome of cheap rewards. The book that. Well, I think when we did Divinity, the #1, I was working with R.A. Jones, and he had a PDF of one of his books. And I don't know if everybody out there knows who R.A. is, but he's also a literary publisher or published literary writer. And he offered a PDF of one of his books as one of the stretch goals.
Yeah.
And that was like perfect, because people got a real bang for their buck.
Well, that was from my publishing company, Airship 27. He's written several books for us, and we offered one of his PDFs for a stretch goal. Yeah, and it is. It's just Airship 27 I have a whole website set up with links for the Amazon, book and the Kindle, and then we also have our own website where we sell PDFs really inexpensively. And people can just hit that link. It goes over. They pick out which book they want. They hit buy, and then they're taken to PayPal. They pay their bucks, and then I've got it set up so it automatically sends them the PDF. It's god awfully simple to do.
Another thing that we have,
but you've got to do the research on how to set it all up. That's the thing.
Another thing that we have.
Was that a ghost?
There was a cat flyby.
That was a glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Another thing that was that's pretty successful is to sell guest appearances in your next issue to people. They love to show up in comic books. My financial advisor is actually the role model for my bad guy in Divinity 6, 7, and 8.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
That is a shrewd move, Art. Very shrewd.
Oh my God. Wait. Godfo Universe says we do large prose companion piece PDFs with every comic we put out. It gives me, the writer, something to do while the book is being drawn. That's a good thing. people really like getting the free extra story. Gosh dang it, girl.
Yeah.
The free extra story.
Glitch.
Thank you for the cat tax. I know they're divas, so they just really want you to see that they're there. They want to own the screen.
That's it. That's it.
See, I need to take my pills now.
Here's an interesting piece of data for everybody. Kickstarter's own public data shows the comics category has launched over 32,000 projects and pulled in more than $322 million. The success rate sits around 68.59%, higher than most other categories on the platform.
All right,
Now,
so okay,
isn't that
Wow,
interesting?
that's
What's
saying some
Kickstarter's
pretty bad
kickback?
stuff about the other stuff on the platform.
how many?
Well, they get a
These
fee.
platforms, though. Wow.
They get a fee at the end of the. It's based upon what you make.
Yeah.
They
That's a
extract a
percentage
fee.
usually, yeah.
And that also includes the money that you charge for shipping and everything too. They're looking at that final base dollar, so they're still taking off of that too. How many projects did they say that they launched comic wise?
Well, as of this bit of trivia, it was 32,000 comics projects.
And
Has
how
pulled in
much had a success rate?
68.59%.
Which is incredible. That's
And they
actually pretty
It's
good.
brought in
21,900.
$322 million worth of books.
Okay, hold on a second. I want
He's
to.
gonna bean count.
Oh yeah, this is what I do.
1% of that would be 3.5 million. They make 4%, so that's about they made $12 million off of comic book people.
So how much millions, Barb?
322 million.
Absolutely, Jose.
Jose said, so what I'm hearing from that is I can become a millionaire if I make comics.
No. You
Sure.
misheard
Not
Jose. If you become Kickstarter, then you'll make the money.
So on
That doesn't
average,
mean you will.
So if we take the success rate at the 68% of the ones that were launched, so we take the 32,000, subtract out, and we got the 21.9 and change. Take the 300 some million that they say, divide that by the numbers that actually went. That's 14,670 per campaign. If every campaign is equal.
And not every campaign actually came to fruition.
So that means that there have been some. We know that there have been some mega campaigns that have gone through there.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
And then there's some people that barely got toll money.
and I was gonna bring that up as one of the cons of crowdfunding is early on it was independent creators getting in there and putting their stuff out, but big name creators. Big name professional creators caught up with
increasingly,
this, and they are increasingly more and more of them jumping into the pool and siphoning up a lot of the money. I mean, I'm not begrudging them that because I mean we started this thing. Now they're getting in and they're making a big splash in the pool. I hope that means that they're pulling more people. It's like when you go to a convention, there's always those people on the one end, the far end of the convention floor that's pulling everyone else through the floor, and those of us sitting on the floor can get a little bit of from them as they pass us going toward the big guys at the other end of the show. I'm hoping they're a draw that's pulling more people into finding things on crowdfunders.
Yeah.
So
The problem is getting lost in the crowd.
That's exactly it. You got more competition.
That's the other side of that is that there's so much out there now that it's hard to figure out how to get attention when you're in that huge crowd. So. And you're not a big name.
And as money gets tighter for everybody, there's going to be only X amount in our disposable income budgets at home. So let's say that, I don't know, pick your favorite creator, they put out a book, they put it on Kickstarter, or any other crowdfunding platform. You could do that one, or you could do this no-name dude that has a book that looks kind of cool, but I've loved this other dude's stuff since the 90s. that it's not necessarily going to bring in more people. Unfortunately, I love the idea, Rob. I wish it worked that way. A lot of people wind up saying that's not fair.
It
but
can.
It's life.
It can if you can learn how to get the
working better for them. You know,
Yeah,
instead
you
of them now
you have to
printing.
figure out how to get it out there so people know it's there.
And just
but I think it's bringing in more people.
And just FYI, I just crunched some numbers while we were talking here, and the Kickstarter fees run between 3 to 4% of your profit.
Yeah, that's reasonable, really, when you consider it.
Well, Jason Scott Campbell, the guy that used to do the covers for Marvel, he's doing something very similar to that.
Guy?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, he was way bigger than just the cover guy. Oh my God, he's an industry. Oh my God, I met him. He's so super cool.
So right now, what he's doing is that instead of him getting hired to do specialty covers for this retailer, that retailer, this publisher, he's literally taking it upon himself, and he makes his own covers for any book that Marvel wants to produce a variant for. He does it himself, and he sells it directly to the consumer.
Oh, wow.
And with that name and that track history, he's just printing money. He has to be. Mm-hmm. To do all of that, he's got to be. That's just another gatekeeping just blown off the hinges right there.
So, let me see if I understand this correctly. Because I'm just picturing like he's, drawing it, duplicating it, sending it, you fold it over, put it on your comic. But I don't think that's what you're saying. So basically, like he's becoming how they have like the retailer variants.
That's exactly
his own retailer.
Yes, that's exactly what he
does.
Is
a friggin' brilliant business move.
He cut out everybody. He says, why am I making all these other people money with these variants and all this stuff when I can do it if I just control the supply?
Now Martin says, but he has to order like 1,000 copies, which is crazy.
With all the shows that like Jay Scott does,
he'll make that up in one show.
He's got a big enough name that's not as big a risk.
Think about it.
If for somebody like me,
right? What about copyright?
It's a horrible move.
Well, no. It sounds like he sets himself up as a vendor. So, like, say like here, by you and by me, we've got Grand Cracker Comics, and they have a lot of exclusive covers. So, they contract with Marvel, and then they have, so they're doing it through Marvel. It sounds like Jay Scott is basically set himself up with Marvel
as a middleman.
As like a retailer. Yeah, it's like the variant cover available only at jscottcampbell.com.
So he's paying at least when he's buying the 1,000 copies, he's paying wholesale price.
And he would probably be
wholesale
paying
price
Marvel something to do it.
I'm gonna say,
yeah. So it's not a copyright issue. It's a business agreement between two entities.
Yeah.
Okay, Benjamin says he orders more than 1,000 copies. He said the biggest check he cut was for $80,000.
Yeah, nice to have it. Nice to have that much.
Well, nice to have the kind of fan support that allows him to do such a wonderful thing.
Exactly. Well, I mean, and he earned that. He earned.
Well,
you don't become a big name by doing crap work.
Right. If you're a top tier A-list,
well, you become a big name in a different way if you do really crappy work, though.
That's true. Yeah. But that's. I mean, he's capitalizing on his fame. As I like to point out,
who doesn't?
It's very limited fame because we're talking about a niche market, but still. He's capitalized it, and that's
well, he takes the risk. He should get the reward. That's
exactly.
He's worked with companies where they've used his poses and his character drawings, for statues and busts.
He took the middleman out.
Well, I know that's the middleman. It's just like the stuff was based upon his artwork. So he's more than just comics. It's not necessarily like a McFarlane Toys level. But I wouldn't minimize him.
I agreed with you, Martin. I don't care for Rob Liefeld's work because
I'm just giving the bad look because it says bad things about Rob.
Yeah. And I was robbed before he was.
But he does.
Well, we have hit the top of the hour, and we had a very lively discussion tonight.
We always do, don't we?
Yes. And I'm so happy for that because, as I said at the beginning of the show, I've got travel crud. And
I hope you feel better.
Yeah. Well, it's the same as con crud. If you get into a crowd.
Usually, it's a week. You feel like that for a week and then you get over it. Yeah, but
as long as you didn't bring COVID back from Europe, we're good.
Oh, who knows?
The government's building something new, Javier. COVID is so 2019.
Thank you, Atries. Good show. Make mine Silverline. Praise be to Barb and pay your cat taxes.
Pay your cat taxes.
That's right. That's right. I thank everyone for joining us tonight. It's the nice welcome back from being gone for 2 weeks. It was a very, very lively discussion, and that is all down to you guys. So thank you for joining me tonight, because I would have been not much fun otherwise.
Thanks for the great topic.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. That's right.
And Kaz, you want to put in the commercial again?
Yep.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, okay. Obviously, we got a Kickstarter going. So Fund My Comic. It is in the chat. So scroll up, support us. Also, again, we appreciate anything you guys do. We appreciate you spending time with us and commenting, and we love to hear you guys talk about what we talk about. So like, subscribe, show us some love on all the social media platforms that you participate in, and we will be forever, ever grateful. All right. And
thanks, Martin. You need to come back next week.
Yeah.
And every week after. Yeah, we'd love to have you. You're a very good conversationalist.
Troll Javier all day. Troll him every
Bring it. I got stories for days. Bring it.
All right. And as we like to say at the end of each Wednesday night Wham, make mine Silverline.
I'm Andy Smith. Make mine Silverline.